Ready or not. Ready or not. Here I come. Can't hide. Gonna find you and then yo. Like a game of chess where I rest. No stress, no success.
Yo, what's good? This is Big Season Leo, and we are in the basement. This is by far, I think, gonna be one of my favorite shows. As always, on this show, we discuss sports, politics, we discuss religion, and we also discuss family. I'm very excited to talk about this topic, and I think this is my most researched video to today. Today, we're going to discuss Mr. Saquon Barkley. Mr. Saquon Barkley recently won a Super Bowl, and he went to golf with the president. So we're going to discuss that, and we're going to break that down. We're going to discuss two of my favorite subjects, and that's football and politics. Let's get it in. Let's jump in right away. Recently, Saquon has been getting a lot of negative feedback from the black community. Stars like Roland Martin, D.L. Hughley, they've been giving him a little negative feedback for going to the White House after the Super Bowl. And so, to some point, I see it's warranted, and some point not. Later, I'll discuss my views and how I feel about the situation. But before we get into that, I do want to give you the facts before we jump into the whole aspect or judging this man for what he did. Okay, first of all, let's get into the history of the invite. So we know, not many people know that the invite started in the 1800s. It started in 1865. Andrew Johnson was the first president to invite sports players to the White House to celebrate championship. He invited two amateur baseball clubs to the White House after they won the championships. It was a great honor, and which it should be today, an honor to go to the White House and be with the president. Through history, there have been numerous of individuals who refuse to go to the White House because of political, personal, or health reasons, or just whatever reasons they choose. It really doesn't matter. It's their prerogative. They can choose what they want. But I'm gonna give you a couple people who chose not to go to the White House because of political reasons. We have Mr. Matt Burke. He was a center with Baltimore Ravens when they won the Super Bowl. The reason he didn't go to the White House to see President Obama, because he felt he was Catholic. And with that said, he couldn't endorse Obama's point of view on Planned Parenthood. Obama and the Obama administration, they were big on Planned Parenthood. They were big on women's rights to abortion. And he just said he couldn't get behind that, which it's his choice. I have no problem with that. I think it's fair. If that's what he feels. I have no problem with that. There have been numerous people that refused to go to the White House. For one, one of our greatest sports stars, Michael Jordan, he refused to go to the White House at any time after any championship because he refused to mix politics with sports. But that's his stance. Most people say you have a duty because you are a black male in the United States of America, and we know that your road is a lot tougher than anyone's road who comes into this country. But Michael Jordan refused to mix the two. One of my favorites is James Harrison. James Harrison declined twice. He declined the George Bush administration and also the Obama administration. He refused to go to either because he felt like, why only championship teams are invited? Why are you not inviting everyone else? It doesn't matter. If I wouldn't have won the Super Bowl, would you have invited me? Which is hilarious to me in a nutshell. One of my favorite ones was Larry Bird. Larry Bird and the whole 1984 Celtics team turned down the chance to visit with President Reagan because of their own reasons. And he quoted, this is a quote from Larry Bird: "If the president wants to find me, he knows where to find me." So, there have been numerous people who've decided not to go to the White House, just like there are several people from the Eagles this year who refused to go. And I understand that. And I don't judge. And I think at sometimes you have to take a stand And you have to do that if that's what you feel. I have no problem with it. Everyone could do what they wanted to in this country. So people have been on Saquon back, calling him a sellout, calling him everything, which I think is truly unfair, but it is what it is. But before we get into that, I'm gonna quote you Saquon Barkley side of his tweet he put out regarding going to golf with President Trump. He says some people are really upset because I played golf and flew to the White House with the president. Maybe I respect the office. It's not a hard concept to understand. I just golfed with Obama not too long ago and looking forward to finishing my round with Trump. Now get out of my mentions with all this politics and have an amazing day. See both sides. Let's dissect Mr. Saquon Barkley. Let's be honest. Saquon is a 28-year-old black male that was born in the Bronx, New York. Now, we all attempt to live out our dream in America and make a better way for kids and future generations in America, in the United States of America. So Saquon's parents had enough, drive and dedication to move Saquon out of that neighborhood in the Bronx, New York. They moved him to Copley, Pennsylvania, which is 76% white. I'm thinking Saquon was probably the man. When he moved to that neighborhood, he probably had some adversity to overcome, but I mean, it's Saquon Barkley. I'm sure he can overcome that. He overcame that and he became, Saquon Barkley, football player. So his views of racism in America are not the same views as a 50-year-old, 40-year-old, 60-year-old man. I know that the issues we charge him with or the things we say about him, like he need to stand up for blacks or he need to boycott because, Trump is not pro-black, that doesn't apply to him. That's not his life. I totally understand that he needs to understand what's going on in the world today, in the United States today. At the same time, is the beauty about this country is everybody have their own point of view. Saquon grew up around majority white people. He experienced a totally different life. He has a white wife. He has mixed kids. Opinion on racism and talking about racism is not really something he want to do. That's not a goal of his. That's not a something he want to prepare for his kids and grandkids because they are on the front line on that because they are mixed kids. So I think we need to understand that and understand his point of view before we jump in it and dog him out because of his stance on going to the White House. Now, once again, just like people who chose not to go to the White House, I have no issue with him going to the White House. Not even all. I'm not going to call him Uncle Tom. I'm not going to say anything stupid or ignorant like that because it doesn't apply to him. If he's getting in, attempting to change that culture and working with the other side, you cannot knock him for that. You have to respect everybody's point of view. You have to respect whatever someone is doing. Okay. So the reason I love this subject so much and it's so interesting to me because I have a degree, I have a bachelor's degree in political science. So I don't get me wrong, I don't know anything more than anyone else as far as politics or what's going on in the government right now. I'm not gonna lie and say I do, but I do my research and I do have, like I said, a political science degree. So therefore I do understand different governments, understand sometimes where those governments come from and how they are formed and adjusted over time. So I have a different view. I view it as it's not always one sided. I understand that parties, groups, unions, votes change over decades. You can't look at it from a small point. You can't look at it from the 60s to 2025 in a 60, 70, 80-year span. You have to look at it from the totality. You have to look at it from the 1800s, 1900s, into the future. You have to be fair to yourself because times change, people attitudes change, the communication changes, Access changes to other people, so you have to be fair when you talk about the situation. And I'm gonna give you guys my take on the whole Saquon situation. I'm a golf lover. I love golf. I would love to play golf and be out there. But when you have certain responsibilities as a black male in the United States of America, and you have 11 players that decided not to attend the White House, how does that affect your decision? Would that affect my decision, me personally? We're talking about me here. The type of person, I've never been the one to follow the norm. I honestly think people who follow the norm or influenced by other people's opinion or who you should vote for or how you should act, not act, I'm not going to use that word, how you should live because of what other people think, I totally disagree with that. I think people should live their life because you only get one. You should live it the way you want to. You know, if you don't live your life the way you want to and different from everybody else, there would be no extraordinary people. There would be no people that live outside the box. There would be no people that are seen as anomalies. So live your life. Do what you want to do. That's why I don't judge. I'm not judging anyone for their stance on this situation. Me personally, I don't know if I'd have went to the White House. For me being a political science major, I 100% would have wanted to communicate with the president. I would have wanted to talk to the president just to see where his head was at. And there lies the problem. If I had a conversation with him and the conversation went well, and I could see his point of view, even though I didn't agree with him, I saw his point of view and I seen his direction of where he wanted to take the country in the next 4 years. It might have changed my opinion. It doesn't matter because I can't vote for him anymore, so it wouldn't matter on that level. But on the other hand, if I'd have went out with him and we'd have golfed a couple rounds, because I heard he is a good golfer, and I have to respect that because I play golf, and I went out with him and I felt he was disrespectful, crass. He was typical Donald Trump what we see in the media. I had a different opinion, and I might have spoke that opinion after the meeting, and it might have influenced my view in the public. But obviously, he doesn't care because he's already went to the White House. He knew he was going to catch backlash from that, and you know, maybe rightfully so. So when you're in that position and you're getting paid millions of dollars, you got to deal with the bullshit, and sometimes the bullshit gonna come. I don't feel sorry for you. I take the bullshit for $16 million. Give me the bullshit. Um, Back in the late 1950s, early 1960s, there was a black member of FDR's cabinet. His name was Philip Rudolph. He his whole goal was to lead efforts for black integrity, um, and also put more blacks in patrol. Okay, he worked with an administration with FDR who you don't want to say he was a racist, but he was a white man, 87-year-old man, white man in 1950. Let's be real. He was a racist, or he just didn't know anything about black people. But he actually had a black cabinet. As opposed to his regular cabinet, he had a black cabinet to inform him on black issues. Regardless if he took those issues to heart, regardless if he took those issues serious, regardless if those those issues were brought to the table and implemented in statutes or laws, regardless. He still had it. He still listened. One of my favorite stories from Philip Randolph. He organized a political group. Honestly, that sounds refreshing to me. Right now, we just give our vote to Democrats, and that's what we do. He was attempting to organize marches and talking to FDR, trying to get him to, help black people out. Give us some things, give us opportunities, give us government jobs, give us things that we deserve. We've been here 300 years. Give us that. Earned it. So one of my favorite quotes is he goes to FDR and try to organize this, right? So basically FDR says, he says his reply was, "You've convinced me. I agree 100% what you say. This country is narrow-minded, and we're racist. I agree what you said. Now why make me do it?" You hear how it is? See, FDR, his whole view was, I don't think if we make it so kids have to go to school together. We don't if we make integrate the schools, yeah, we can force it. If we make people do stuff they don't want to do, yeah, we can force it and we'll make some people unhappy and then you'll lose votes and then you'll have, race wars. This whole thing was change the mentality, change the thinking of the people. So it's all one band, one sound. So we all are on the same level. So with that, I agree with FDR, but most probably we have nothing in common. Once again, he was a probably 70-year-old white man, 1959, 58. We have nothing in common that I know of. My view is when I have went to the White House, yes, I done went to the White House, but I done went for different reasons. I done went to pick the president's brain, for one. I done went to I wanted to shake up something. I would want to see or hear for myself. I'd have went just for that. But I do understand. Sometimes you have to make a stand. Sometimes you have to stand on business. And just like FDR told Philip Randolph, make me, make me. And the fact that you walked away from that, if you walk away from that situation and not go, does that have a more impact than if you went and gave the president a different point of view? Just something to think about. Some people think you shouldn't go. You shouldn't even talk to him. You shouldn't even because he doesn't have your best interest at hand. So why would you even talk to him? Me personally, I don't agree with that. I think you might not have my interest, but you're gonna hear me out and you're gonna respect me. So yes, I would have went. I would have went to the White House for those reasons. The thing we came up to with today is everyone in this country. That's the beauty of this country. We've worked so hard through the years to make it better for kids, for the future generations. The thing is, we all need to be on the same page and we all need to, you know, work together or at least listen or at least go and communicate to one another to make sure we are on the same page or we can at least understand where that person is coming from. So, as always, I'm going to leave you with a positive quote and have within you right now everything you need to deal with whatever the world can throw at you. Peace out. Thank you for hearing me out. God bless.